It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears Up!
That's right, everybody. Ears Up Podcast. We are back. George Costanza voice. We're back, baby.
Serenity now.
Yeah. I mean, we've never really left. I mean, every 2 weeks you do this, but this is my favorite part of the month is when we get to do these shows, and
Me too.
I really look forward to it because I have a lot of fun on these shows. I really do. I really enjoy my time here, and all that kind of stuff.
I never left. I've just been sitting here on this Zoom.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
For 2 weeks.
I forgot to tell you. I was going to give you another link. So you actually have to leave when you're done.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've seen some things. I don't know, man. You know what I mean?
Sorry. I mean, it's only one chair. I mean,
for me, that's all you got to do. Yeah, what are you going to do? We are the boys today. It's a boys only show. This one goes out to all my fellas. Bev is out sick. She's not sick, but someone in her family's sick, so she's taking care of them. Taryn is out sick. So it is just myself, Eric, and Jeremy. And I'm excited about that. I like having just the boy. I like changing up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be fun.
It's as we said before the show, it's in-depth plus me.
That's right, yes. Yeah, we're just going to do news. Jeremy, do you have a rhyme to give us? Like you do on In-Depth so often? So lovingly crafted?
Well, I'm talking about Spaceship Earth tonight.
Okay.
The music of Spaceship Earth. So, Spaceship Earth is a really big
Oh no, he lost it.
Wow.
It's a great big ball at the front of the park, and you ride around on it in the dark.
He's back.
There we go. We got him booted up again. Sorry,
But
we should blow in the connector a little bit.
There is a news story. I kind of I've been watching it this week, and I'm like, I wish it was an in-depth this week because I want to talk about this. Have you heard about this new trip?
Yes, I have it in News for Secret Show.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's a big, we can mention it here briefly, but it's briefly, no one really cares. Yeah, it's like $100,000. They jet set everywhere.
Yeah, to see all 6 of their plastic castles. I'm good.
Hey, the France one is like stones, right?
Yeah. Actually, it isn't. And the roof is actual slate.
See? That's 100,000. That's 3
right
Teslas.
Yeah, it's not made from computer monitor
3
plastic.
Teslas. That's 1.5 now.
I don't know how much a Tesla is. This is a new unit of measurement.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. But the way that they jack the prices up, that unit of measurement just keeps moving and moving and moving. We do have a good show for you guys today. Like Jeremy said, we are going to go through the music of Spaceship Earth over in EPCOT, the big golf ball that's behind Jeremy. You guys know the big golf ball that sits in front of EPCOT.
Of course.
Jeremy loves it when we talk about it like that. So we're going to do that. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then I have a segment. I'm really looking forward to this. We had to sort of scramble a little bit. When Taryn was like, look, I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to be able to do this show. I said, okay, I got you. So I had to go into the Patreon only archives that I have all my ideas in. And we do a show on Patreon. I do a show called Pyramid, the Eye, the Ears, which is all about conspiracy theories and, just kind of fun stuff. The last show I did was a while ago, but it was like all the theories of the Cars universe. Like, what are the cars really? And how did they evolve and all that kind of stuff. And I had a good time doing it. It was pretty fun. But I had to take one of those stories. I'm a little bummed out, but I'm very excited to share it with everybody. This is a story about a conspiracy theory surrounding Walt Disney's true birthplace, true origin.
Ooh.
Yes. And it's
Marcelline?
Yes.
Chicago, Illinois.
Big oak tree. That's property. He sprouted from the ground. It's pretty wild, man. I like it. I think it's a good one. And, yeah, it's pretty good. But before we do all of that, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Concierge, by the way, if you're going to the parks, if you're going to Disneyland, if you're going to Disney World, if you're going anywhere, really, check with Concierge first, concierge.com. They can help you plan the perfect vacation to Disneyland or not. But, they're really the Disneyland experts or the Disney World experts, the Disney parks experts. So if you're still trying to figure out this Genie Plus thing, this Lightning Lane thing, when the best time to go is, the reservation system you have to do for literally everything. You probably have to reserve a spot to go to the bathroom these days. The folks at Concierge are going to be able to help you out. And all of that stuff is free on top of the ticket price.
Can I give a brief testimonial?
Sure. Yes.
Very brief.
Eric.
Yeah.
Eric is not a paid. Yeah.
Only if it rhymes.
Yeah. Please do it in rhyme.
No.
I mean, fair. I did say please. It was a,
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I will reject that please and that request.
Okay.
Apologies. There we go. That rhymed.
There you go.
And so we're supposed to be going on this trip tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow to head to Walt Disney World, and Brandy wasn't able to go until yesterday. Suddenly everything fell into place, and Brandy is able to go 2 days before we depart for Walt Disney World.
Wow.
I called Jimmy.
Yeah.
My personal concierge.
Oh.
And Jimmy got her tickets and park reservations in no time at all. Park reservations and bathroom reservations. They're also very coveted.
Yeah, okay. Well,
we're still working. He's still monitoring. Just there are a couple of things where it didn't quite work out, but he's still looking, and just no time at all. Middle of the day. Fantastic work.
That's great. And, and the little things you can sort of work out, like you said, later on. But the most important part is you got flights, you got resis for the parks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we got the same flights, like crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's kind of crazy considering from what I understand, the airline industry is sort of in flux now. Like a lot of flights are being canceled.
They just kind of shrug and say, come on our plane.
Yeah.
Would you like to
Come
plane?
right on our plane.
Coming out of Well, that's great. Well, check it out. Concierge.com. They don't charge you anything above what the parks do. So it's all free. It's a free service. You got to pay for the tickets, right?
Yeah, you do have to pay for those.
There you go. Support the show. Go to Etsy. Actually, the whole entire network. Go to Etsy.com/shop/Coveyears. Got a bunch of shirts in there. I converted a lot of stuff to tank tops. The classic Weenie Castle from the Supreme Resort, that is in a tank top, brand new tank top form. So if you want your weenies out, you know what I mean?
Man, I'm too late. I'll have to get it shipped to the parks for me.
You can. Absolutely.
Right.
How long are you going to be there? Because there's a turnaround. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's 10 days. We'll figure it out.
You'll be fine. All right. Etsy.com/shop/Coveyears. Of course, you can become a Patreon supporter of the show. Help keep the lights on, little as $2 a month if you want. It supports all of our shows. It's the absolute best way to help us out. At $5 a month, you get access to the secret show, which we're going to be doing later on tonight. Got a bunch of cool news to go over. Got a drink to go over. It'll be a good time. So check it out. And you get access to the back catalog too. So if you're caught up with all of our weird programming and all of our shows, and you want more content, sign up to go on Patreon. You can go through all the back catalog, get all of our past secret shows when we used to be fun, and before we got older. I was looking in the mirror the other day, actually today, and trimming my beard, and I was like, "There's a lot of. Do I have soap in my beard?" No, it turns out it's just white. I've aged. It's like
I've found some of that myself.
Yeah, it's those moments where you don't notice, and then suddenly you do a double take, like, whoa, I got old. Like I physically have aged since the last time I noticed. It's weird.
Does that mean, would you consider going beardless?
No, I mean, I don't have any hair on my head, so I might as well have it on my face, kind of a thing. I mean, I shave the beard every once in a while. You know what I mean? I get bored or, nihilistic. I don't know. I shave it. I want to destroy something beautiful.
You're looking at those clippers and you're like, just go, do it. Do your thing.
Sometimes I do get antsy where it's like, I just kind of feel like you take it off and then a week it's back. So who cares?
I think it would drive me nuts to have hair on my face.
I think you would look cool with a beard. I think you should try.
Well, that goes without saying, but I just don't think I would enjoy having it.
Grow a beard for me, please.
Actually, it's getting a little long tonight. This really is the boy show. We're talking about beards.
Beards.
Yeah, go for a big do like a Western for Halloween and just start growing your mustache now. Your big handlebar mustache.
Please do. That would be amazing. Our friends at the 21st Amendment Brewery welcome the warmer weather with the release of their brand new hoppy Pilsner, Coaster Pills. With a label that depicts a magical portal into an amusement park of flavors, Coaster Pills has a good time around every turn. Coaster Pills is wonderfully clear and bright with a beautiful straw color and tight white bubbles. It has a snappy flavor with crisp lines and wonderful citrus, tropical, hoppy flavors and aromas. Plus, at 5.4% ABV, it'll help you coast right through your day like only the 21st Amendment can. Coaster Pills, as well as their summertime favorite Hell or High Watermelon Wheat, are available wherever you find great craft beer. That's right. Very good. Very good stuff. All right, Jeremy, welcome back, man. And this time you have a segment for us. I'm excited.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you're not just hanging out, being some schlub on the microphone.
It's nice to bring something to this other than my schlubness.
Well, speaking of schlubness.
Who's that?
That's not it. I was on the wrong bank. Hold on. Speaking of schlubness.
Join us as we unravel the magic behind some of Disney's most beloved pieces of music. It's SpectroTime. This magic night.
Eric, you're not swaying.
Oh, no.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, no.
Come on. You're going to be on the show, we sway. In this show, we sway to this music.
Because of its 3/4 time, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Correct.
exactly why, and no other reason. All right, Jeremy.
Well,
How are you?
I'm great. It's nice to be here. It is, it is nice to not be a schlub. I feel that way tonight.
Yeah, to contribute to society.
Bring something to this once in a while.
I know, right? Instead of taking.
Well, tonight, I'm not just bringing something to you. I'm going to bring you to EPCOT.
Thank you.
And we're going to learn about the history of the we're going to learn a little bit about the history of the attraction, but we're going to focus on the music of Spaceship Earth, which of course is the iconic and symbolic attraction at Epcot, more commonly known, as you said, as the big golf ball. It took over.
I imagine that really riles people up because I think like Walt Disney World fans in general, I think are a little built different. But I think Epcot fans are truly built different. They're like very, pointed and guarded about that thing.
Well, it's under attack nonstop. You can't blame us for being a little defensive, okay?
True.
God. So we get our panties in a twist if anything's taken the wrong way.
Hey, if we can start to deal with the I'm going to Walt Disney World. Is that the one in California or the other one? It's
yeah. Asked Bob Chapek.
Yeah. I was pushing my kid down the stairs today because she said, "I love Disney."
Aw.
Yeah. Like first of all, it's Disneyland. How dare you?
No, it's just Disney. We went to Disney.
No.
It took over 26 months to construct, which used to be kind of a staggering number, but now it takes them that long to build a quick service.
I thought you were going to rhyme for a second. I was like, oh no, what's happening?
What if I have like 6 pages. What if it was all rhyme?
It took them 26 months to construct. By the end, they were boop. Sorry. I don't know.
Jerry put a lot of effort into this one. All rhyme.
Yeah.
Structure is clad in 11,324 silver self-cleaning Alucobond facets. Originally, it was conceived as just a dome, not a full sphere. It was going to be a theater with a big domed roof, okay?
Let me ask you a question, Jeremy. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. What? I think we covered this, on another time. What is self-cleaning?
I don't know. I don't even think it's true.
Okay.
It's just how they market it.
Okay. Maybe it's like a smoother surface so the dust slides off easy or something.
It's interesting because it looks like, it looks like brushed metal, but what they say is that they actually feel as smooth as glass.
Oh, okay. That's what it is.
Oh, that must be it.
Yeah. All right. That's cool.
Good thing glass never gets dirty. Originally it was supposed to be a dome, but the final version wasn't just a dome, but a full geodesic sphere that seems to hover just feet above the ground. The idea was to make a dramatic entryway, not just to the park, but into the attraction itself. The hovering dome meant guests experienced the effect of going up into Spaceship Earth rather than just, merely walking inside and through a door.
Yeah.
which they would have done if it was a domed building. Science fiction writer Ray Bradbury helped Imagineers write the original storyline for the show. He outlined a group of major turning points or events in human history that had large impacts on our development as a species and a civilization. He ended up outlining an attraction where we sit in a time machine that goes back to the Stone Ages and traces humanity's developments in communication throughout history. The attraction takes us from cavemen recording their knowledge on cave walls, the development of paper in ancient Egypt, the invention of the printing press to disseminate information and how that led to the Renaissance, the newspaper, radio, television, the computer, the personal computer, and the network of communications that we've created today. During Epcot Center's opening ceremony, William Ellinghaus, then president of the Bell System, which was the attraction's initial sponsor, dedicated Spaceship Earth, number 1.
Now, as you will soon see, Spaceship Earth's theme is communications, civilization and communications from Stone Age to Information Age. And I therefore think it is very fitting that we dedicate Spaceship Earth to all of the people who have advanced communications, arts, and sciences, and in so doing have demonstrated that communications is truly the beginning of understanding.
So Spaceship Earth really is the first attraction you are meant to see when you arrive at Epcot, especially the first time. It sets the tone for the whole experience. Because what he's saying there is that without the fundamentals of communication, you can't fully begin to understand or comprehend the rest of the pavilions that you're going to see that talk about land, the seas, transportation, space travel, all of that. So communication is the foundation. Without that, it's necessary for all the rest of it. So it sets the tone for your whole day.
So you're saying that the re-theme where we're talking about storytelling wouldn't have quite pulled off the same feat?
Nothing they do now can pull off anything. Their big trick is they made it into their own personal light bright. That's their big thing. It's a big, sparkling, dazzling ball. That's their big contribution. No, our shared story will be no good. But more on that later. So there's been some heated debate over several years, over several decades, in fact, surrounding who the actual narrator for that very original version of the show was.
Really? You think that would be just sort of easily solvable?
No, because, it's not like now where everything's, we know everything. They advertise everything. Everything's an Instagram story. It was kind of just like, here's a ride. Listen to this voice. It wasn't, and featuring.
Okay.
For many years, people believed the original narrator was someone by the name of Vic Perrin.
Yeah.
Now, Vic Perrin will be familiar from his on-screen performances in episodes of Gunsmoke, Maverick, the TV series of Mission Impossible, but he's more known for his extensive voice work, including characters in Scooby-Doo, The Fantastic Four, Aquaman, and the Smurfs. But imagine you're Marty Sklar threw a wrench into things when in an interview a few years back, he claimed Vic Perrin had nothing to do with Spaceship Earth, and that it was basically preposterous that Vic Perrin would have narrated the attraction. He claimed in a 2008 interview, as well as his book, that the true narrator for the first 4 years was actually Lawrence Dobkin. Now, who's Lawrence Dobkin? He'll be familiar to Disney fans. He was the original narrator of the Hall of Presidents at the Magic Kingdom, but he's also notable for roles on screen in The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Ten Commandments, and the 1970 movie Patton, as well as guest appearances on Night Court, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and The Donna Reed Show. Far be it from Disney fans to question the likes of someone like Marty Sklar.
Of course.
So suddenly, it becomes accepted that Vic Perrin is not the original narrator and that it's Larry Dobkin. But there's still some lingering doubt because people are listening and they're going, well, that's fine, Sklar, but it doesn't sound like Lawrence Dobkin.
Are you saying that Marty Sklar sometimes just told stories?
Clearly more than once.
Contradicted himself.
So it doesn't sound like Dobkin, and everyone's like, well, it sounds a lot like Vic Perrin, like who we all thought it was. So in 2020, Disney casting director Mark Edis weighs into the debate, stating that he hired not Larry Dobkin, but Vic Perrin. So now it's pretty widely accepted that our original belief that Vic Perrin was the narrator is true. And in fact, Vic Perrin provided the work on neighboring Future World attraction Universe of Energy. So logistically, he's around. He could have done it. He's right there.
Sure.
So we believe that Marty Sklar was erroneous in his contradiction, and we're back to believing it was Vic Perrin again.
I love that for us.
Until the ghost of Marty Sklar comes along and says, well, we did hire Vic Perrin, but guess who showed up on the day of?
Hey, maybe that happened. I think the debate continues. My money's on Perrin, not just because of what this guy said and the first 30 years of Spaceship Earth, but also the fact that everyone's like, well, it sounds like Vic Perrin. The attraction featured the attraction featured many of the vignettes that can actually still be seen today. So we go through all these ancient times. We see the invention of papyrus, which was paper. A lot of that's still there. It hasn't changed that much. It's been updated, but a lot of that original story is still there. It also contained, in those first 4 years, a simple, quiet orchestral underscore that was never officially released and is almost indiscernible in the few recordings that survive from the time. So we're not even going to play that. You can barely hear it. Now, as I said, the original version of the ride was sponsored by the Bell System. By the time Epcot Center opened in 1982, the Bell System was already on borrowed time, their new sponsor. 10 months prior, in January of that year, the Bell System was mandated to be broken up, breaking up its telecommunications monopoly and creating in its wake AT&T, along with several smaller regional telecommunications companies. In 1984, the Bell System formally ended and became AT&T, which automatically assumed sponsorship of Spaceship Earth at that point. Fast forward 2 more years. In 1986, the attraction was closed for just 2 days for it to receive an update. Most notably, Vic Perrin's narration was replaced by venerable newscaster Walter Cronkite, number 2.
And now, your host, Walter Cronkite.
For eons, our planet has drifted as a spaceship through the universe. And for a brief moment, we have been its passengers. Yet in that time, we've made tremendous progress in our ability to record and share knowledge. So let's journey back 40,000 years to the dawn of recorded history. We'll trace the path of communications from its earliest beginnings to the promise of the future.
He's like voice is like a caricature. I've heard so many caricatures of Walter Cronkite over the years. To hear that, I was like, wait a minute, is that okay? It's just like overly exaggerated.
That 40,000 years.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Maybe you should start reading your news on In Depth like that.
Yeah. The lady swung hard, connecting with the soft flesh of her sister.
Okay. I really like it. I think his voice is simultaneously gentle and soothing while being authoritative.
Oh, very
I'm
good.
very into that voice. I like to listen to it. I trust it. Finally, also after 4 years of operation, the attraction received its first theme song with that redo, Tomorrow's Child, written by Ron Avedi and Peter Stugard and performed by Sally Stevens, number 3.
Today, our search for understanding is unbounded by space and time. Centuries of information stand ready to reach us in an instant. Our link with the past, our hope for the future.
Tomorrow's child, seeing that knowledge keeps growing. Tomorrow's child, searching through time, longing to find answers to guide us and dreams to unite us, reaching for hope and desire.
Very buttery, very smooth and silky song.
And nothing says the future like a children's choir.
That's right.
I love that song. By the way, you two you're very lucky. You have just heard the best version, the best narrator of Spaceship Earth.
Wow.
He is. I can remember going and listening to that, and like the rest of the trip, like me and my dad just going to each other. Yes, tomorrow's child, like, over and over. Now, if you aren't sure where you might have heard Sally Stevens' voice before, you will have heard her voice in the soundtracks to Jurassic World. Yes, she's still working. Tomorrowland. And if you're a Golden Girls fan, you might remember season 4, episode 8, Brother, Can You Spare a Jacket, where the girls find themselves at a homeless shelter looking for a concert ticket inside a jacket they mistakenly donated.
Yes.
You hear the song, Brother, Can You Spare a Dime, performed by Sally Stevens. Number 4.
Once I built a road, made it run, made it race against time.
It's no tomorrow's child.
Oh, couldn't agree more.
Now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime?
Spare a dime. Well, in 1994, after 12 years, Spaceship Earth was beginning to show its age and was in need of another update. This time, the attraction closed for a little over 3 months in the fall of 1994 for a more thorough remodel and maintenance. A new script was written for the attraction and was narrated now by Jeremy Irons, who is now famous to Disney fans for having voiced Scar in the animated feature film The Lion King that same year. A new orchestral score was composed for the whole of the attraction by composer Ido Guidotti. And if you aren't sure who he is, but you play World of Warcraft, you will know he composed the music to that.
Oh, well, there you go.
So let's take a listen to
Good soundtrack.
Jeremy Irons and Ido Guidotti's sweeping soundtrack, number 5.
Like a grand and miraculous spaceship, our planet has sailed through the universe of time. And for a brief moment, we have been among its many passengers. Finally, from the depths of the Dark Ages, came the Age of Enlightenment, the Renaissance. On this wave of inspiration, we sailed into a bold new era of communication, bringing an explosion of tools and technologies which would bridge people around the world as never before. And as our appetite for information and knowledge grew...
Yeah, I don't know, man. After Walter Cronkite, I don't know how you go there, but
Did Jeremy Irons get replaced by Jim Cummings at the end of this ride, just like he did in Be Prepared?
Is that an inside
That's a good
EPCOT joke?
No, it's a joke for people who have listened to my segments in the past and paid
Come
attention.
on, you remember? He's joking,
Yeah, I'm
everybody.
teasing, man. Yeah, no, I'm looking for more socks on Amazon right now. I'm not really.
I actually forgot about it because you said something. I was like, "What?" And then, I was like, "Oh yeah, I did." See, you forget what you say.
It's on a sign at the Art of Animation Resort. I mean,
Is it really?
it is. Yeah.
Interesting.
I ran past it. The last time I stayed there, I ran past it. I'm like, oh wait, I've heard this before somewhere.
Yeah. If you ever see me crouched over at Art of Animation taking notes, I'm preparing for a new segment.
Just reading signs. Oh, that's a good one.
Now, in order to prepare or to write that score, Guidotti spent several days in Florida riding the attraction over and over and over. I wonder if people think I'm preparing to write a new score for the attraction because I'm on it just constantly, just round and round we go. So he rode the attraction over and over, absorbing the scenes and the progression of the story. But also he had an Imagineer visit his house in Southern California to record a demo of the narration before Jeremy Irons recorded it, just so that Guidotti could get a sense of the rhythm and the timing of the words so that he could write the music to support that. So he put in a lot into this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, one of the biggest challenges Guidotti was given by the Imagineers was in writing the music as guests reach the apex of Spaceship Earth. Because if you've written it, you get to the top, you emerge from a dark tunnel into this large sphere. And there's this wow moment of the Earth projected high atop. They use it almost as like a planetarium. And so you've got the Earth projected on the ceiling. Now, for that entry, the Imagineers kind of wanted the music to sort of say like, ta-da, like here you are, like you emerge out and boom. The challenge was, given that this is an Omnimover ride, a new car of guests is emerging into that dome every few seconds. So you can't have ta-da, 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 ta-da. So he cleverly wrote music for the dark tunnel before in a lower tone. And then the music in the dome, no matter what part of the loop it is in, is always in this raised higher tone from the tunnel. So as the listener emerges into it, no matter when they enter, they always just sort of feel this lift in the music. And that's how he got that transition to work and have the music sort of say, ta-da, without doing it over and over. Take a listen to how he did it. Number 6. Little bit of a cutoff there. I fade that out, but okay, forgot that.
There you go.
So you can hear how that kind of just sort of gently lifts. Some keen-eared Spaceship Earth enthusiasts will also notice similarity to the music of a famous classical composer. In the finale scene of the attraction, as the guest time machine passes a diorama of a futuristic city, Imagineers guided Guidotti to be inspired by Bach's Symphonia No. 2 in C minor, and he used that piece as the basis for that finale area. This clip that Jason's about to play for you starts off with Bach's Symphonia No. 2, and then I've blended that and merged it into what Guidotti actually ended up writing for the area. So see if you can hear the similarity between the two pieces. Number 7.
Yeah, for sure. That da 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 da.
Yeah.
Sort of the sweeping up tones and down tones.
It's the same. I mean, I was like, oh, he basically just orchestrated that piano piece.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was more inspiration. It's a quite close inspiration there.
Well, who's going to sue? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's in the public domain at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever were going through there and you said, hey, that Bach Symphonia number 2 in C minor, you were right. In 2007, it was time for Spaceship Earth to be updated again, now under the sponsorship of Siemens. The attraction closed for 6 months from July 2007 for a renovation that would see a soft reopening in December of that year, with its official reopening on February 15th, 2008. A new narration by British Dame Judi Dench is accompanied by a sweeping new score composed by Bruce Broughton, who, by the way, was at Disneyland 5 days after it opened in July 1955, so he's no stranger to Disney and surely a fan. Let's take a listen to Dame Judi Dench's narration and Bruce Broughton's wonderful sweeping score, number 8.
Like a grand and miraculous spaceship, our planet has sailed through the universe of time. And for a brief moment, we have been among its passengers. But where are we going? And what kind of future will we discover there? Surprisingly, the answers lie in our past. Since the dawn of recorded history, we've been inventing the future one step at a time.
Very good. Very nice.
That score. So if I could have the Cronkite, I mean, I love Judi Dench, but I love the Cronkite vocals and the Broughton score.
Right. Let's do that.
That's the mashup we know.
We deserve it.
We have to have. Now, we spoke about how all this exhaustive research that Guidotti did for his version.
Yeah.
Well, for the ancient music of the first part of Spaceship Earth, Egypt, Rome, and Phoenicia, Bruce Broughton admitted he did no research. He just made it up. He's made old-timey sounding music for that time. So listen to what he did without any research whatsoever, number 9.
I sort of love that idea. I don't know. I mean, I'm a musician. What am I going to do?
Works for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I don't know. I guess you call it stereotypical, I suppose. But, I mean,
We don't know any better. We're tourists in Florida. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure the Egyptians were playing a pan flute. Broughton described the challenge for Spaceship Earth is that the music has to blend together from scene to scene without creating dissonance. It's possible for guests to get stopped in between scenes with the ability to hear music from 2 different scenes playing at the same time. He wrote the music to all gel together such that when you hear the pieces individually, they sound like completely separate compositions. But in actual fact, the music is all one big piece, written in different styles, that blends together, just variations on the same themes. Take a listen to some of those variations. Number 10.
Nice.
You can sway to that too. It's also written in 3. That's going to be a loss when that goes away. That is a beautiful score.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new score is supposed to be all Smash Mouth.
Hey, now you're in orbit. Get your gravity on. Go away.
That's it.
Yep.
Smash Mouth parody. Sorry.
Yeah, I love it.
Though Walter Cronkite's iconic narration was removed from the show in 1994, he actually still lives on in the attraction to today. In the scene where a family watches the broadcast of the 1969 Apollo mission that first landed men on the moon, Walter Cronkite can be seen on the television from a clip of his original coverage of the event.
That's nice. That's a nice touch.
Makes me happy. In 2019, Disney announced another update to Spaceship Earth was coming as part of a major overhaul of the park that would knock down things and put in water and get rid of fountains and generally make the park look terrible. As a part of a major overhaul, will include the conversion of Future World into World Discovery, World Nature, and World Celebration. That update to Spaceship Earth has since been put on hold due to the impacts of the coronavirus. So the Bruce Broughton Judi Dench version continues to delight guests to today, but I have a feeling their sights are on it. They're going to be hacking into my beloved attraction soon. So go see it while you still can.
The score will be Lin-Manuel Miranda, narrated by Dad.
Oh my God! Don't even say it.
They'll leave in the video portions where you can choose your future. Yeah, the same thing.
That was cool. I do love that ride. It was a hoot, man.
Well, it just shows you, and people love it, and it still gets wait times. You know, like. You walk in that park, it can be a 40, 50-minute wait. I've seen it often.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, people like it. And it's just a dark ride. So it just shows you we don't need all this razzle, dizzle, dazzle.
We don't. I mean, it's fun to do new tech and whatever, but there is a certain section of the fandom, I think us included, that we like the old, it looks rickety or it doesn't look as flashy or whatever, but there's something to be said for. I mean, same thing with Pirates, or Mansion. It's like all these effects look kind of dumb now, but it's nostalgia. It's also like marveling at the technology, which was top technology at the time, and sort of how that still works, still tells a story, still has a show.
But like, you look at the you look at the Pirates that they put into Shanghai. It's just screens.
Yeah, there's a lot of screens for sure. I mean, they have super advanced animatronics in there, but they're moving projector stuff, and like I get it to a certain extent, but when that becomes your new thing, is technology that's been around for several years.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anybody going to go on the Pirates in Shanghai in another 10, 15 years and tear up a little bit as they.
I miss this projection. This is my favorite projection.
Oh. Okay, so that's the music of Spaceship Earth. I hope you enjoyed it.
Very good. Very good.
I did.
Me too.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to learn about Walt's true origins. Was he really born in Chicago in 1901 or somewhere farther away? Hang on, everybody. It's EarzUp. We'll be right back. Let me
good setup.
Hi. Where is he going? You have to
taking a break. One of his famous breaks.
What's going on in the LGH loved it. Oh, thank you, LGH. That feedback. Just write that in the chat. What so you fly to Disney World tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Friday. Saturday, what's your park res?
Magic Kingdom.
Okay. Well, they've got the lights going in that Tron tent.
Oh, good.
You can see that at night.
That'll be slightly different than the last 2 years I've been going there.
Yeah.
And seeing nothing.
Are you doing any trip firsts?
No, I don't I don't believe so. Pretty much everything is something I've done before. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. We're doing Le Cellier one night with my parents. We haven't done that in years.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while.
But I got that.
But did you say that you actually never went? You actually never have had a drink in Abracadabra?
No, I've had plenty of drinks at Abracadabra. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that the time with the lady with the phone was the one time, and you didn't quite. Make it.
No, that was just the last time we went. We stayed at Boardwalk one year, and we were at Abracadabra like twice a day.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I just haven't had a drink with you at Abracadabra.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll have to figure that out.
Brandy's bummed that you're not going to be around.
I may. I am flying down at some point next week. I just haven't booked a flight yet.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be after Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday night at the earliest. Probably Thursday or Friday.
Okay. Well, if you're around,
perhaps I will see you.
Give us a shout.
I will.
Here, hold on. I just realized I have to increase the font size a little bit.
Yeah, he used to make fun of me. He's like, look at Jeremy's font size; it's so huge.
Well, yeah, you had 4 letters on a page. I mean,
yeah. Well, I want everyone to think I did a lot of work.
All right,
Mr. P says Abracadabra is so dope.
That's the most Mr. P thing to ever be said. All right, hold on a second.
And now, back to the show that ignites your dream wish of imaginations and magical color wonderment of forever. Ears Up.
I'm telling you, one day that's going to be the name of a new nighttime spectacular. This is whatever announcer man just said.
Whatever replaces Harmonious.
Oh, God, please. That can't come fast enough. But did you see they have a new, Hong Kong's got a new show, and they've named it Momentous.
Oh, no.
This is a momentous show.
Like, what are we there's nothing else besides that?
No.
Anyway, sorry.
You're welcome. Oh, no, I moved my camera. Okay, here we go. All right. You guys ready to learn a little bit of history?
Let's do it.
All right.
My wife didn't just walk in the room listening to a book on tape on her iPod
device.
phone.
Same thing.
Sure.
All right. Ever since the Second World War, rumors about the true origins of Walt Disney have been swirling. The Nazis tried to tie Walt's lineage to that of German descent in order to explain the popularity of his cartoons in the country. Then there's the one I'm going to explore today, that Walt was really born in Spain.
I thought you were going to say space. I really thought you were going to end with space.
Yeah, forged in the vacuum of space. That's why it's
Forged.
called Spaceship Earth. Yeah, it's the Earth is really the womb of. Anyway,
Where in Spain? Sevilla?
Isabel Zamora was employed as a laundress in the town of Mojácar in Spain, which is a province of Andalusia. It's also the second largest autonomous community in Spain. And her employer, Isabel's employer, was Dr. See, I should have Jean. It's a G, but it's not really a G sound, right? Hines? Let's call it Hines. Dr. Carrillo. Stemming from a long line of local doctors, Dr. Carrillo held a prominent status within the small town. He was a lover of art and the theater, founding a local theater group after the Spanish Civil War in the mid to late 30s. Even in this small town, Dr. Carrillo held a very prominent status. He was one of 2 doctors, and apparently the 2 doctors were sort of like, it was like a feud between the 2 families of doctors, but they would come together and like fund, a theater and like do benefits and, be very philanthropic with the local residents and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Kind of weird, big in your own hometown kind of a thing.
Okay.
Isabel one day became pregnant. Mysteriously, it seems, for the local lore was that she wasn't really known to have any boyfriend of any kind. Naturally,
she's a tramp.
Well, look, man, immaculate conception happens, supposedly. Naturally, the town started assuming Dr. Carrillo was the father. Of course, this was considered to be socially unacceptable given the vast distances between the two and the town's social hierarchy. A neighbor of Isabel's, who used to work in the silver mine, took pity on the soon-to-be mother and offered the child his surname so that, well, I can't really figure out why. Some of the reading I found was presented as if this act of this man giving the surname, you can use my last name, would prevent the child from being born a bastard, which is what everyone was sort of like worried about back then. But not really certain that's how that works. At any rate, the baby's name, Jose Guiaro Zamora, was born.
Okay.
Soon after the birth, again for reasons unknown, Isabel and baby Jose left Mojácar, boarded a coal freighter in the port of Cartagena, and were off to the natural destination of all recent mothers the world over, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it was built.
That's right.
Recent mothers.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Taryn really wanted to go to Chicago in about 7-8 months. You know, she's like, I'm getting the itch. I get the craving, you know. Isabel had a brother named Juan living in Chicago, and she was there to start a new life with her baby. Presumably, Dr. Carrillo paid for her ticket and shipped her off in order to save her the humiliation of having a bastard son. Or maybe he was trying to take the heat off of himself for fathering his child with his laundress. As fate would have it, Juan Zamora lived on State Street, just a few blocks over from the Disney home on Tripp Avenue. Juan was listed in the 1901 Chicago phone book as being a circus acrobat, which I find very, very funny. I don't know why.
Does the phone book include your occupation?
I think so, yeah.
It's very common. Very common at the time. Yeah.
Now, Juan probably, we don't really know, but probably saw how much effort it was taking to raise little Jose, and he suggested giving the baby to the Disneys. They already had 3 kids, so they must know what they're doing, right? Well, Isabel agreed, and Juan was taken in by the Disney family, and the rest is history. Walt was born in Chicago on December 5th, 1901, as Walter Elias Disney. Now, this has been the distributed truth of Walt's beginnings, and it would have never been in question were it not for a brave and intrepid group of journalists challenging the Disney story. One man in particular, Carlos Almendros, went so far as to contact the Chicago Registry to acquire a copy of Walt's birth certificate. The response he received back? Nobody called Walter Elias Disney was born on that date, nor in any surrounding dates in the city of Chicago. Which is true. There is no birth certificate for Walt Disney on record. The only certificate on record is Walt's baptism record on June 8th, 1902. Apart from that, no proof that Walt even existed can be found. Was he even real? Was Walt Disney just a psyop designed by the government? Yes. And no, not really.
Yes, he was. The end of the story. Thank you.
He was never a real person. So was Walt really born in Spain? No. Or at least very unlikely. But to some of the folks in Mojácar, Walt is the native son that they never had. Or something. The former counselor for tourism, Jose Luis Cano, the tourism of Mojácar, says, quote, Walt Disney was asked directly, is it true that you were born in a town in Spain, in the south of Spain? And his enigmatic answer was, who knows? It could be. And I've seen this a couple places before too. I'm taking this quote to actually be, real, but it's also Walt. What are you going to do? To this day, the town of Mojácar still claims Walt as their native son. Visitors who explore the town often run across Tito's Beach Bar, a popular spot for fresh food and music looking over the Mediterranean. On the wall, Tito, who is a native-born American, often points tourists to 3 photos on the wall. I'm going to share this with you guys right now, and I'm going to continue reading. Well, I guess I can't read it and share it.
Is one of them of him hand-making vodka?
Yes, it is that Tito. Hold on. Go away.
Look at Jason's little write-up.
Go away. Why is there
only 15? That's not that big.
No.
That font size.
Okay. So this is
Why is Mel Gibson holding up these pictures?
It's sad Mel Gibson. This is Mel Gibson's brother Charlie. This is Tito, and he runs Tito's Bar. And so this is the picture. These are the pictures that he holds up. There's Walt and there's two other men. And he asks tourists, which do you think is Walt Disney's father, just based on these photos? Which do you think looks more like him? Most people point to the main guy in the photo, sort of a rounded face, mustached or whatever. But that is not Walt Disney's father. Walt Disney's father, Elias, is over there on the right. The slender-faced, long-faced, different nose, no mustache. And this is their proof.
Yeah, those hereditary mustaches.
Yeah. The man in the photo is Dr. Carrillo.
Well, first of all, why are we looking at a profile of why shouldn't they be all from the same angle?
Well, I mean, what are you going to go back in time and take a picture of Walt's dad?
But there are pictures of his dad.
It's the best we can do. Okay. First of all, it's the best we could do. Anyway, I digress. Let me read the thing. On the wall, Tito, a native-born American, often points tourists to the three photos you just saw. One is a recognizable Walt Disney, and the other two men are much older, one with a slender face, the other more round with a bushy mustache. Tito asked folks to pick out Walt's father based on facial features alone. Guests usually pick the mustachioed photo, seeing as the resemblance is closer to that of Disney than the other. But we know that it's not. They often pick Dr. Carrillo as being Walt, as looking more like Walt than his dad. And that's the proof. That is tantamount to photographic evidence to some people.
People are so stupid. It's just he's just groomed in that picture. He's groomed similarly to that other guy, but I actually don't think those facial features are that similar. And if you look at pictures of Walt when he was really young and skinny, he looks like his dad.
I mean, I don't know. I think he does sort of look like this dude. I'm just saying. Now, Tito isn't just some beach bum who fled the U.S. in order to ride waves and feed hungry locals. He comes from a wealthy family ingrained in the glitzy Hollywood scene of the 1940s. In fact, he lived on Carrollwood Drive, right across the street from the Disney household. He says, quote, "From my house, I could see a model train in his backyard with cars big enough to sit on. He even visited the first Disneyland, I don't know why it says the first, I stole that part. He visited Disneyland with Walt while it was still being built. So he knew Walt. Their families were close. It's Tito Del Amo is his name. He goes, quote, "I rejected the idea outright when I first came here in the 1960s. We were too busy having a good time. Back then, Mojácar was an almost Mediterranean paradise where a small group of hippies could get safely psychedelic." I think that's the term. We're just getting psychedelic, guys. It's cool. And where their children
safely.
Yeah, safely. And where the children could scamper up and down the irregular flagstones of the village's narrow, deep streets.
Also
Del
safe.
Amo admits that now he sees Disney's face in the Carrillo family and all over the village. Quote, "The man from the electricity company came and I thought, well, he also looks like Walt."
Add that guy's picture too.
Yeah. You've seen it everywhere,
more
man.
pictures of people who look like Walt.
Yeah. But Tito isn't the only gatekeeper of this origin story for the most well-known entertainer in the world. Christopher Jones, the son of one of Walt's press agents, has been researching his own version of this history in the hopes that the truth can finally be revealed. Quote, "This is a story of an orphan brought up by nasty parents who becomes a wizard," said Jones. "It's the story of Harry Potter gone sour." That line I don't understand, but okay, whatever, dude. And Jones says the only time Walt was challenged by a well-known Disney animator on whether he might have been born in Spain, he said, "Who knows?" So this is the second other person to bring up this quote. Jones first heard about the Mojácar story from his father, Tom. He has since moved closer to the town of Mojácar while he writes a forthcoming book on the true story of Walt's birth. So this man is living near this town to do research, to write a book. And I love that so much. I don't know why. What an excuse just to move to some basically resort town now in Spain. But yeah, I'm doing research. I got to research. Oh, look, time to go eat. Now
he's got the psychedelics too. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. The town has not been shy about promoting the Disney connection in order to boost tourism in the area. Mohocar had been a small mining town, peaking at about 6,000 people in 1920 and dropping to about 600 in the 40s. In some stories I read, they had actually dropped down to 300 people in this town.
Oh, my word.
The mines in the area had all shut down, and much of the residents moved away to find work elsewhere. Buildings were falling apart, of course, and nobody had heard of Mohocar, much less wanted to vacation there or live there. They had no phones, no running water, and this is in the 40s, no electricity. Women would carry water from the public fountain in the town square back to their homes for cooking and for drinking.
Ugh.
In 2018, however, the population soared to just over 6,300 people. So we're back post-peak, baby.
Oh, in 2018, it soared.
2018, yeah. Now, most of this rebound is credited to Mayor Jacinto Alacron, elected in June of 1960, who poured his heart into reinventing this sleepy and dying town. He started by painting all of the buildings white, covering their original brown coloring. Imagine this just like beachside thing, the city overlooking, it's like nestled into the hills, overlooking the Mediterranean, and it's just brown. Paint the whole thing white.
Very audacious.
Yeah.
What if they were not brown?
Right. What if the town it's just one HOA? He also gave land and buildings away to people who would move there and invest in the local economy. Oh, and he also went on national TV to reinforce the fact that Walt was born in Mohocar. So that probably helped too. This nut bar in the 60s, just on national TV. Yep, well, you know what? The town that I'm a mayor of, Walt Disney was actually born here, everybody. Come visit. Thank you very much. Come buy a house. It's free.
Yeah. And he's alive at that time.
Yeah, he's alive, man.
Okay.
I mean, this place must really suck. It's in Spain and it's on the ocean, and they need this story to get anyone to go there. Like, whoa, how bad is this place?
Well, I think it used to. So when this mayor took over in the 60s, there were 600 people living there. So he's like, let's go. Let's pump this economy. Let's do it to the moon, baby.
The ocean wasn't enough. The great food.
Apparently not. Apparently not. The absence of Walt's birth certificate seems to be the root of these stories, and on the surface, that does seem pretty strange. However, back in the early 1900s, having a birth certificate was not a requirement for families in Illinois and was frequently ignored for home births, of which Walt was. He was born at home, ignoring the fact that none of the Disney family or friends ever questioned or commented on how they suddenly had a baby in their possession without that story actually getting out. There's no actual evidence of Walt being born anywhere else other than Chicago. But that doesn't mean that there aren't awesome little moments in his life that provide just enough fuel for this fire to not die out totally. For example, when Walt needed a passport when he was 17, he had his mother sign an affidavit affirming that he was who he was and that he was born in December and in Chicago. Seems pretty normal considering the lack of paperwork back then. The odd thing is, she signed another document confirming yet again that Walt was born in Chicago sometime in the 30s on Walt's behalf. Why would he do that? The conspiracy theories are like, well, Walt finally started realizing that he wasn't born to the Disney family and he just wanted to make sure and blah, 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 blah. Then there's the FBI's involvement. Walt had a fairly large file at the FBI, some like 600 pages, due to his work as a, quote, special agent in charge contact, or, a spy, during the Red Scare in Hollywood in the 50s. In a declassified FBI document, Hoover pledged to help Disney. Quote, I am indeed pleased that we can be of service to you in affording you a means of absolute identity through your lifetime, he wrote in Walt's file. And nobody really knows what this means, because much of Walt's FBI file is still redacted. However, by the 1960s, the Disney name was a beacon of American greatness, a shining orb of happiness and joy. What would happen if the truth came out that jolly Uncle Walt was really a bastard child from a crumbling mining town in Spain and not the great American we've all been sold? Back then, that sort of crap mattered to most people, so to what lengths would the government go to protect this secret? What about little baby Jose? Did the town of Mohocar record his birth? Here's the recollection of Martin Morales, who's the municipal archivist of Mohocar. Imagine having that job. Just archiving Ted, I don't know, man, replaced his door, and here's a sliver of it because I don't know. Whatever.
Does every town have an archivist?
Apparently. Here's Martin Morales, because it all goes back to the summer of 1940 when some gentlemen come in suits who claim to be Walt Disney's secretaries. Nobody here knew who Walt Disney was at the time, and they say that their boss had sent them to get the baptismal certificate because he intends to get married. They come here, do the corresponding writing to see if Jose Guerrero Zamora was born in 1901, which is the date they believed he was born here, and coincidentally now, today, it turns out that the volume corresponding to that period has disappeared from where it should be. They turned the town upside down with the intention of taking something very valuable from the archives, their birth certificate of Jose Guerrero Zamora, who we now know was baptized in the U.S. as Walter Elias Disney. If those three men were investigating, their signature and reason for the query should have been reflected in the record book, but here, where the entry record of the request of these gentlemen should have been recorded, all traces have disappeared. Specifically, an entire volume. Isn't it curious? One might think that they could have bribed someone, or that they took documentation and made it disappear themselves. Come on, they took that to the United States.
Oh, someone is a super sleuth.
Clearly.
The former counselor for tourism, Jose Luis Cano, says, quote, "The truth is that there is no reason why three members of an establishment like the FBI, and if they were not from the FBI, they were from the CIA or something like that, would come to Mojocar, a town that was dying in those days of 1940, to look for the registry of a person named specifically Jose Guerrero Zamora. Without a doubt, for them, it was the same person. You have no other explanation. Or do you? Were these suited men from the FBI? Their accounts of their arrival have been corroborated by a few people in the town, a former mayor, a priest, a lawyer, but what they were looking for can never be found, if it existed in the first place." The facts that Isabel Zamora and Dr. Guerrero existed isn't up for debate. Many of the older residents remember her leaving with a child. Was it baby Walt? Like most rumors and conspiracy theories, the good ones are born from fractions of truths, and the great ones are impossible to solve without any degree of certainty, or with any degree of certainty, rather. There's no way to prove once and for all that Walt was really born in Chicago. There's no way to prove it. Without a DNA test, I don't know why I wrote that. Without a DNA test comparing his descendants with the descendants of Dr. Guerrero, one of which still lives in Mojocar. Mm-hmm. Diego Carrillo is the son of Dr. Guerrero. He is also a doctor as well. Had this to say when a reporter knocked on his door to ask about his famous alleged half-brother. Quote, "I have said all I want to. I've had enough." However, a few days earlier, he had denied the story in Madrid's El Mundo newspaper. Quote, "This stuff about me being Walt Disney's brother is fiction," he said. The journalist from Primer Plano, the publication that first wrote about this rumor in 1940, had obviously heard something about Walt Disney in Mojocar, and that's why they came here in 1940. My father liked a good joke, so he said yes to everything they asked. Then Diego said something that didn't quiet the rumors so much as shifted them. "If you think my father and Walt Disney look alike, you should see pictures of my uncle. He looks even more like Disney, and he did like the ladies."
What?
Further proof.
Yeah.
Oh.
Diego Carrillo's nephew, yet another doctor, this lineage, man, just pumps out doctors, confirmed the family line. Quote, "Mojocar was a boring place then. My grandfather died when I was young, but he was a lecher, a viejo verde. In his old age and interest in the occult." I don't know why you just throw the occult in there. Like, what's the occult got to do with anything? The whole thing was cooked up by Jacinto and him when those journalists arrived from the film magazine. If it was a joke, Primer Plano, which is, again, the magazine that it was written in, not only fell for it, but introduced a new element in the form of a letter allegedly sent to the village in 1925. Quote, "Some time ago, the parish priest of Mojocar received from the U.S. a letter. It asked for the birth certificate of Jose Guerrero Zamora, baptized in 1901, and this letter, which disappeared in the Spanish Civil War, was signed by Walt Disney. A few days after being sent the documentation for Jose Guerrero, Walt Disney contracted marriage with Lillian Bounds, and the life of the gifted artist, creator of a new cinematic theory, took its course many miles from Mohokar. Yeah, what do you think of that? Lillian was a $15 a week sketcher who worked for Disney and married to him for 41 years. A year after he died, she remarried. Ironically, or rather spookily, according to Tito, she married a Del Amo family friend and was thenceforward known to him as Aunt Lillian. So he like lived across the street from his future aunt, although he didn't know it. It's really weird.
Weird.
The story you just heard varies a bit from the original that was first published in Premier Plano. That one had Walt's mother as Maria, not Isabel, and the entire family left the town and moved to America when Walt was 2, not just the mom and the baby, right? Eventually finding work on the Disney family farm just outside of Marcelline, Missouri. Now, Walt's real father died on the farm, and the Disneys adopted Walt and raised him as their own, which kind of skews the timeline a bit because the official story is that Walt arrived in Marcelline when he was 5. So, and then he left Mohokar at 2. So did it take him 3 years to get to Marcelline? Or maybe he wasn't as old as he claimed to be, which reminds me of another story. This one is verifiable that Walt changed his birth date on his form for the Red Cross, right, to enlist and serve in World War I.
Right.
Was he actually making a correction and not lying?
Oh,
this story just keeps adding more and more intricate layers.
Intricate.
Oh, yeah. Very intricate, yeah. Just throwing darts at a wall. Walt supposedly told his good friend Salvador Dali on several occasions that he was, in fact, born in Andalusia. The two artists were friends, of course, and working on a project together that never really saw the light of day until it was pieced together and finished back in 2003, I think, called Destino, or Destiny. I can't find any other reference to this supposed, comment by Dali that he said, yes, Walt actually did tell me he was born in Spain. Other than the source material, nobody else, it's nowhere else in the world. And you'd think something like that would sort of be more widely distributed. However, Dali was a known fraud himself, often inventing dramatic scenes from his own childhood to sell books, and later in life, signing copies and forgeries of his artwork to pass them off as originals so he could sell them and make money. Apparently, he even employed 4 artists at one point to simply copy his work, and he would sign these canvases and other people would sell them. However, the story was first born and has clung onto the minds of the town elders who repeat it to their children, and eventually, like all good stories, it ends up on the internet.
The town elders.
Mm-hmm.
I love a town that has elders.
Yeah, which is basically just old people now. I mean,
yeah, but they sort of like lead and guide and, the elders, you have to ask them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
we don't know. We
town...
can't. What?
Say, can you imagine the town elders sitting at a computer on Reddit, tapping one key at a time, telling this story, spreading the truth.
And then for the morning announcements, the mayor reads who got upvoted that day. Maria,
you know how they say
upvotes? Congratulations, very good. Jose, you got 2 downvotes, so you're gonna have to go back of the line, please.
You know how they say that like a good lie has a lot of details?
Yeah.
I think that's what they were going for, because there was a lot going on in that story that was like didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a lot that I sort of omitted too. Apparently like the rumor in the town was that Dr. Carrillo was sort of a philanthropist. No, wait. Philanderer?
The other one.
Yeah, he was like the only person. I mean, he was one of the only 2 town doctors. So like he saw a lot of young women, and apparently this wasn't like new. And he was sort of a womanizer, but he was like an artist, and he would like build, art installation, some nonsense. So then people go, oh well, you know how older people are. Maybe your grandparents like, oh well. When you were a kid, you did just the things as your parents did, as your mom or dad did when you were a baby, when they were a baby or whatever. And it's like that sort of idea of just generational ideas being passed along. You know what I mean? It's like, well, he's artistic, so it makes more sense that Walt is his child. It's like that dumb shit.
Right. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah. Right. So there you go. There you have it. There's one of the more fascinating versions of Walt's background. And it's funny because it's like I'm saying, a good lie has a bit of truth to it. And it's one that you can never point to anything factual and say this. You're wrong because of this information. You can't, right? So it's always going to live on.
So during your journey with this story,
yeah,
were there ever times where you were swayed one way or the other, or did you always have a thesis and you sort of you think one thing?
I mean, look, I'm not, my brain is pretty, smooth, but it's not that smooth. You know what I mean? Like I know that I'm pretty sure Walt was born in Chicago. Like the amount of people that have dug into this man's past and written biographies and did like pieces on him, hit pieces or not, or whatever, right? The amount of press this man has received, the amount of combing through his past has received. Nobody has found any of like his old neighbors or priests or anybody in the neighborhood or turned any of his family members to be like, yeah, I don't know. The Lillian, no, wait, what was his? Flora was his mom's name. Yeah. One day she wasn't, she was pulling weeds and then suddenly they had a kid. It was weird. I don't understand it. Nobody's ever said that.
Right.
But that's all J. Edgar Hoover's doing.
That's right. All these people had accidents. So no, but also there's like 4% of me that wants to believe it because I think it would be hilarious. I think it'd be really funny if like that was it. But like Walt would have either had to know or then, but then if he knew, why wouldn't he go back there? But then what is this report of all these people coming to like, I don't know, steal the documents?
It's probably just made up.
Of course.
Someone just made that up. Like this report of people coming. Do you know how many, like these people live in clearly a pretty boring town without any technology. What do they do for fun? They make shit up.
when one of the 300 people in town is the town archivist, he's like, I'm taking this book home and I'm gonna, I don't know, eat it, burn it.
I mean,
I'm so bored.
Speaking of people who look alike, there's a picture of Walt and
Dolly.
Salvador Dali.
They look alike. I mean, these people sort of just look alike, like to the point of like Tito with his picture. It's like you can sort of align different people with different facial features, and like that's just, I don't know. You can find the resemblance in a lot of different people.
Dolly looks like Walt's mother.
Maybe he was.
With a mustache.
We don't know that
real mustache.
He does look like Flora in one of those pictures.
God, Walt just looks like already just over Dolly. Like over the nonsense. He just looks tired.
No, he loved him. They had a wonderful friendship.
They did. Anyway, there you go. That's it. That's the story, folks.
Wow.
I think we all learned something here tonight.
Did we?
Sure.
I hope so.
I've never heard this story before at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I learned that it exists.
Where do you dig this crap up from?
It's on the internet, man. And I will say, shout out to Maddie, one of our listeners who reached out months and actually last year and was like, hey, I do research and, if you guys ever need help. I had to reach out to her for this one because like, I came across a couple things, but I couldn't find anything with details. And she was able to scrounge the internet.
You needed a young person to access the dark web.
That's right. Yeah. I need to go to Web 1.0. And that's where all the information is. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Good stuff, huh?
Are you going to continue, or are you are you done researching this? Are you wrapping it up and you've come to your conclusion?
I've come to my conclusion that that not much has changed. I think it would be cool if Walt was born in Spain. Just, I don't know, because we need some spice, man. What would Walt do? All these people who always ask, what would Walt do about his park? I don't know. Probably lie about it.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know, man. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. All right.
Well, I think that was great. I think it was very interesting.
Thanks, man.
So
there we go.
All All right. We're going to get out of here, everybody, because we have a secret show to prepare for.
Yes.
But we're going to go do that, everybody. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple weeks with Taryn's show, which is the history of EPCOT. So
I will love to hear that.
Yeah, well, you can come on. It'll dovetail nicely. We'll get the crew back together. It'll be fun.
This isn't going to be you can't do the history of Epcot in one show. Is she out of her mind?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
The city, the park, like wow.
That's a lot of history. I think that's like a 6-part. If it were me, that's a 6-part series.
Okay. Well, she's listening, so she will take that into advisement.
She will probably prove me wrong and
probably
do a wonderful job.
Of course. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And if you are listening live, we'll be jumping over to the Secret Show live stream here in a bit. I'm going to make the drink. We'll come back and we'll do that. So anyway, until then, everybody, or until next time or something, we'll see you in the parks. Or on the coast of Spain.